We're live, Mike.
Heck
Let me
yeah.
just
Happy 5th of July.
hang on. Let's get a comms check here. No, don't let her.
Whoop, I'm getting some beeping on the phone. Let me turn that down.
No, yeah, we are rolling.
I see live LinkedIn, live YouTube. We're looking good.
All right, live and nationwide tonight. So we don't know what kind of night we're going to have tonight, Mike, and that's fine. It's a holiday week, and people took the whole week off because the Fourth of July is on a Tuesday. It wasn't on a Monday or Friday, so it's all good. And there's one guy nationwide, Jeremy. Jeremy, how you doing, brother? So, how was your Fourth of July?
It was good. Me and the family did a little mini vacation to go down to Franklin, Massachusetts. My family's in and around Foxborough, so we figured we'd go down there for a few days. Because every time we go see my family, it's an hour drive and then an hour drive back. So this way, we were only 10 minutes away. That way we could shoot over to my mom and dad's, say hello to them, go see my dad on the other side out of town another day, and saw my sister another time. But just able to spend some good family time together, catching up. Let everybody see Emily, how fast she's gone from being a puny little holding your hand baby to now the running around, exploring, getting into everything that she shouldn't be, baby.
Awesome. So,
How was yours?
did the rain affect you all?
A little bit. We kind of got held up on the drive home yesterday. The wife does not like to drive in the rain, and having a 18-month-old and a dog in the back seat doesn't help for thunderstorm driving as well. So we took a pit stop over my mom's house for a little bit, let the baby take a nap. I also took a small nap to be honest to our listeners here. I took a little mini nap myself, and then we got back on the road, got back up to Saugus just after 8, and just before the entire neighborhood decided to start lighting off fireworks at once.
Oh well, mine was not exciting at all. I kind of just stayed in. I had, I'm like, you know what, I can actually like unplug and rest this day, and that's exactly what I did. And I kind of got going this morning, and I'm like, man, that was the best move. I caught up on some Netflix. I caught up on some reading. Just threw some stuff on the indoor grill, the little Ninja thing I have. Mark Peterson from Minnesota checking in with Patriot Pride. Mark, happy Fourth to you, brother. We got all kinds of people checking out Minnesota. Western Mass checking in. This is awesome. Jeremy out west checking in. This is a good start. So yeah, it was nice and quiet, and then I'm gonna see if I can pop this link in the chat. But I found this band yesterday that absolutely made my Fourth of July holiday. They're called Tulip. They're a band out of Texas, and they do this cover of "God Bless
Like tulip, the
the
the,
Flower."
the flower, or tulip, or
No, it's
tulips.
called "Tulip the Flower," um,
Mm-hmm.
and they do this cover, this like metal cover of uh, "Proud to Be American" by Lee Greenwood. That is just absolutely like epic. And
Oh,
I'm gonna copy.
sounds
Well, I'm
wonderful.
gonna copy the link and pop it right here in the chat for everybody. I mean, you gotta check them out.
That was the first song. The first time I had a drill weekend with the National Guard, we had what was called pre-basic, and we had to go down to the Cape and we don't even have uniforms or anything. This is before we've gone to basic training in AIT, and you just go down for the weekend, and they kind of teach you a few things. A little bit of map reading, a little walking around formation, a little drill and ceremony. You know, a little, respond and react. So you learn that being yelled at is okay, and just some small things to give you a little bit of an edge up. And the first thing they did when we got there is we watched like a 4 minute video on like the Mass National Guard, and that song was the background being played.
And I'm
So I
proud to
always
be
had that song
American,
tied to my career.
where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who died. I mean, so this band does it like metal style, and I am like I'm all over it when it comes metal, as you know. Jeremy's saying he had a grandpa weekend. Hey, nothing wrong with being a grandpa, man. I think for Mike and I, it's going to happen one of these days, and that'll be kind of like weird. You ever thought about that, Mike? That when you become a grandfather and you hold your child's child, I mean, that's going to be a different thing, right? I mean, you got a little ways to go, right?
Absolutely.
But still, it does cross your mind every now and then.
I was a late bloomer with the first child, so I'm hoping it's going to be a while for grandpa status, but I know it'll happen sooner than expected. Just how fast the first year's gone by. I can't imagine the next thing I know that she's going to be going to school and everything. It's just
So you were sitting here, you know, thinking about the birthday of our country. What is it? I mean, you've been overseas. I've been to other countries. I have, but you've been overseas to like different parts of the world. What's did you like love America more or less when you came back from those places? Because people, if you listen to the news and other people, like this is a terrible place to be. So, what's your view on that, man? As we celebrate, the birthday.
I mean, America for what it is not perfect, but it is one hell of a country. I absolutely have a greater respect for it and everything after coming back from the places I was sent. I mean, for me, like those plane rides, coming back, going to Kuwait and then flying from Kuwait, back into whether it was Atlanta for leave for R&R, or it was flying directly back to whatever base we had trained out of. Whether on one tour it was Fort Drum, on two other tours it was Fort Dix, on another tour it was Camp Shelby, and like so each time flying back into the U.S., you just get that like the goosebumps feeling and the tingle that like you've been a while, life has gone on in your absence, and like but it's just to be able to be back and to be home and to know that you can close your eyes at night and not worry about what's going to happen to you, or the base being shelled, or that you can actually take that sigh of relief that it's going to be a day that you can easily overcome without having to, deal with a lot of the extra bullshit, and being able to be free and be able to have those choices to do what you want to do. Because, it is very restrictive too being in the service, told where to go, what to be there, when to be there. Like when you do get that leave and that time off to be home and to be, quote unquote free, you want to be able to enjoy it and sleep till noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon and be like, no formation today.
Right, right. Um, every time I went to Mexico, for example, and came across the U.S. border, I about kissed the ground. I mean, there's beautiful parts of Mexico, there is, but where I was stationed and the towns I lived in, they were not exactly the most beautiful parts of the world, and with people that not all of them were nice. Let's put it like that.
Hmm.
And people complain about the cops here, but I'm telling you, the federales were no joke. I mean, if they pulled you over and said that, hey, you know what, you did this, and for $20 each, you guys can go on your way. You pay the money gladly. You did not want to go to Mexican jail as a gringo. You just did not want to do that. And it was like I'm happy to be here. The funny thing was in Algodones, where it's kind of like a border town, they love the Canadians. Like this, we called them snowbirds, Mike, and they would come down in the wintertime on their RVs, and they would
Yep.
flock to Algodones for medical procedures, prescription drugs, and other things. Those people got treated like gold. Nobody messed with them. Grandpa and grandma in their 60-foot Winnebago could run over a fire hydrant, no big deal. A couple PFCs from Yuma, you know, looks wrong at a waitress. There's problems, and so it was just a marked difference about how certain population groups were treated. But anyway, I'm happy to be in the U.S. I watched this YouTube video today. This Royal Marine was talking about invading America, like what you would have to do to invade America, right? You know, one, just crossing the Atlantic or Pacific Ocean, and then two, trying to find a beachhead that you could hold to land enough troops and materials to attack us. And then three, the other thing that he mentioned, that he's like, hey, the rest of the world's got to understand this. The American citizens have more firepower than the National Guard, police departments, and active duty military combined. You know, we got like what I mean, like almost a billion personal owned firearms in this country, which I think we could raise that number up if we really worked at it. I think it was very key. I think it's a very key part of our country where you're not going to roll into our country with a couple of tanks and decide to shoot things up. You're going to you're going to incur our wrath. We're not going to just let you roll into here. So
And you do have the bases are strategically placed or throughout the country. You've got your active duty component, you've got your reserve component, you've got your National Guard component. I mean, you've got your Marine Corps Reserve, your Naval Reserve. There are so many different branches and affiliated services, the Coast Guard, all around, and like it's just I don't feel like there would be any clean way for them to come in without facing battalions to divisions almost immediately.
well, I'm not going to let somebody come in my town. I mean, we're gonna rise up. So
I mean, look at Boston after the marathon bombing. They literally shut that shit down, and they let the National Guard, they let our units literally take the Humvees, go down the streets, up and down, working hand in hand with the local law enforcement to ensure that that was put a stomp to
the only exception is I'm reading about cyber warfare, and I guess Russia and China attack us regularly on the cyber front. Like when that pipeline from Jersey to Texas went down, that was cyber warfare. It was pretty pretty something else. But I just look at Russia for an example, right? This was considered a superpower until they started trying to fight with Ukraine. Now it's like, wait a minute, Russia doesn't have it all figured out. Um,
and then their own mercenaries coming and charging towards Moscow. That was some crazy shit last week or 2 weeks ago,
like,
whatever
wait,
that was.
what is that? I mean,
Wow. Then this was the
stuff's
mega power we were planning for years against. The
right,
strategic battles and our fake like wargaming against what would happen if they came here or we went there. And like a lot of their cards have been shown.
right, and which leads me to my next thing. I mean, I thought about this way. I mean, I was reading a report where in South Korea and Japan, Vietnam, and China, like they've all but quit reproducing enough to replenish their population. Like if something doesn't change drastically in the next 20 years, they're going to start running out of people. Like all the people our parents' age and the next generation before them are going to start aging out. It's going to change things. I think and it's not just. I think we in America are kind of holding steady, but in other parts of the world, man, the birth rates have plummeted. Like people need to start having kids. I think it's important.
There'll definitely be a change in the the number of people populating each country and how that country is viewed worldwide following that. And, but what I think is tough is seeing here at home like our parents' generation was able to work at a gas station and buy a home. And now it's like you've got to have three and a half jobs, both husband and wife, in order to put the down payment on a house that to get a loan for the next 50 years.
Man, it is something. I mean, talking to my sons, it's like, Dad, we can't stay in this state. Like, how are we supposed to make it in Massachusetts when the average rent for a one bedroom is $2,200? That's crazy, man. I mean, a decent two bedroom apartment is going to be $2,600 to $2,800.
And if you
That's
live around Boston area, it's 3 grand or more.
and that's just the way it is. And he's like, "How am I supposed to make it here?" And I'm like, I don't have the answer for you. I mean, I just think you're going to, if they don't change things in this state and build either build more houses or let the western and central part of the state develop more. How are you supposed to stay here?
Yeah,
Very.
they had a stat the other day that said that Boston was like the number three city in the country that doesn't have enough homes for the people that live there. We are short 152,000 homes for the people that live in Boston.
So Jeremy Daniels says connect the dots, follow the money. Oh yeah, Jeremy, you're right. I mean, inflation has made interest rates high, so it's not to anyone's advantage right now to build housing. It's too expensive. It's better for the people who own rental complexes and rental property to raise the rates and squeeze those people for everything they can get. I
Yeah,
just think
and
if it,
Airbnb didn't help anything either.
oh my God, don't even get me started on Airbnb.
That shit was fucking. It was nice in concept to begin. It just turned into a cash grab for people, and it stops people from having places to live. It literally took off the market good apartments and good homes to turn them into places that are rented 3 days a month, and you've got people on the street that can't find a place because of that.
So I just think it's going to be a problem here. And I'm told all the time, I said, look, man, you can go to other parts of the country, make not the same money exactly, but pretty close to it and have a better quality of life. So I just, I think a lot of what we have going on here in our country is about the economy. You've got to get spending back under control and do it like that. But still, it's I look at other countries and how they deal with housing and what's available and how they're building it out. And I still would rather be here. Rather be here.
And it is tough because it's like the same thing. Like the kids are talking about with Massachusetts, and it's tough to say. And when me and the wife are looking at places, we are looking at the New Hampshires and the and out of states, because it is just substantially cheaper to go somewhere else right now. And it's just you want to be able to stay close to family, and you want to be able to keep those those ties and to be around those that that you're comfortable with and that you grew up with. But at this rate, that it's people are being pushed out of Massachusetts for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, oh well. Speaking of Massachusetts, one of the things that I it makes me mad, Mikey. It makes me mad that this is the birthplace of freedom, and you're a criminal. You're a criminal if you light off your own fireworks on your own property. You're guaranteed a visit from your local, you know, police department. And
Like
I'm
they had
like,
on every sign on every highway over the last 2 weeks. Fireworks are illegal in Massachusetts. Thanks, highway sign.
I'm like, and no one's understood. I like to try to explain to people, like, look, it did involve a lot of parental intervention and watching, but if you did it right, you could have a safe fireworks outing. You didn't want your 2-year-old handling a bottle rocket or some black cast, but you could certainly give them little sparklers to wave around. Yay! Happy birthday, USA! Yay! 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 The bigger kids got like some of the other stuff, and then like the adults and big kids got the real explosive stuff. And you got they got the barbecue going, around When the sun went down, we lit them off for an hour and a half. And the only rule was everybody be safe, but you had to come back the next morning and help clean up the yard and everything from where all the trash and paperwork from the fireworks went, and everything was cool. I get up here, I'm like, hey, where's the nearest fireworks store? Like, we don't, whoa, we have professionals, Mike, professionals that light fireworks off. They will do it for you. And that's how we do it. But I'm like, looking at it, I'm like, it's my tax dollars going for this. What in the world's going on? And so when I get a chance to go to a place like, Tennessee or Louisiana, and Louisiana is kind of crazy. They do it for the 4th of July and for New Year's. So New Year's Eve in the wintertime, which is actually a pretty good a time. Like it's cold out, but it's not. So there's no bugs. It's
Hmm.
not hot, and you can have your hot cocoa, and or your beer to keep you warm, and you light them off that way, and it's still a great time. Woohoo! Get your red beans and rice next day. So, but anyway,
Yep,
yeah,
I
man,
always
I
get a
think.
kick out of watching people get pulled over, coming back into Massachusetts. Like, there's usually, somebody sitting at, Phantom Fireworks, like watching the Massachusetts cars pull out and leave, and then watch them drive right back over the border. Sometimes they'll stop at Phantom Fireworks, pick up their fireworks, then they'll hit the New Hampshire State Liquor Store, and then they'll come back over.
Well, I mean, this makes me ask another couple questions. I'm like, okay, if you guys can be that stringent about fireworks, well, then the drug problem should be pretty easy to solve, right? If you can muster that kind of resources to watch somebody put fireworks in their trunk, the drug problem should be gone already. There shouldn't be any human trafficking. There shouldn't be any, right? Right? I mean, maybe I'm just being naive here, but it does make me wonder why can we have one and not
They,
the other?
they Someone absolutely just picked the wrong battle on this one for sure. Like, and they were like, "This is the hill I'm gonna die on," and it's a really stupid hill. And like, you wouldn't have issues with fireworks and with people lighting off and going all cowboy crazy with it. Like, if you just let them be legal, you know, when things become legal, there's a less reason for people to go and be like, "Oh, we gotta get some fireworks because they're illegal." You wouldn't have people bringing up $4 grand worth from North Carolina, when they come back from their training bases because they know they're illegal in Massachusetts, and blowing them all off in a weekend and causing a fire or something. If they were able to casually go down the street, purchase a few and have a controlled evening of entertainment.
It's something else. It's one of the weird things about living in this state. So I just I'm like, well, it is what it is. But going back to the U.S., it's a really different time in this world, man. It seems like I don't know about you, man, but since the last 20 years, the world's gotten smaller. You can literally, talk to anybody, anywhere in the world, watch videos from people anywhere in the world, order food from anywhere in the world. You know, it, the world's gotten smaller. You can bring the world to you, and it's kind of like, well, if you can bring the world to you, are you missing anything by not exploring the United States? Because it's a pretty awesome place.
So that's one of the things that like I always told myself that I'm going to do. Like when I got done my military career and I got the opportunity to, is I wanted to see the U.S. and what it had inside of it. Traveling across the world is great and going to see these big famous monuments and historic, the Colosseum or the pyramids, like going to see these historic places would be great. But I want to see what I fought for. I want to see the land that I swore to protect. I want to see the Mount Rushmore. I want to see Yellowstone Park. I want to see the giant trees out in California. I want to see the landmarks here inside the U.S. Even the stupid things like the world's biggest twine ball or the world's largest yogurt cup. Like, I would love those little highway like attractions that tourist traps, whatever they call them. Like, I love that silly stuff. Like, driving down. I drove to Disney back in 2017 or 2018. So I
Yeah.
drove from Massachusetts all the way down to Florida, and like you start seeing the signs for south of the border, south of the border, south of the border, and I'm like, by the time you get like 10 miles away, I'm like, I'm absolutely 100%. We're going to south of the border, and we got there, and it was off season, so like there's like a t-shirt and sunglasses store open and a restaurant open. And that was it. And the rest of the place was a ghost town. But I'm like, it's cool. I'm cool. I'm happy to be here because like this is a place that people talk about, and that's all of the highway signs that stop by here and check it out. And it was cool to check out.
Hang on a second. Let's see here.
And on the coming back like to the states, like I can't always word it right, but like Dara Worley had a song. I just came back from a war, and like that was like a perfect way to describe like the feeling of coming back to the U.S. and like how it was like because he came over and visited us while we were overseas, and always told us if you're at one of his shows afterwards to let him know that you saw him somewhere overseas, and he would invite you to come back and talk.
I just want to change it up a little bit. I don't know if you saw the article about Ben and Jerry's ice cream. They made a statement on 4th of July that has gotten a lot of people fired up. So didn't know if you had a chance to see that.
I will take a peek at it right now.
Did it get in the chat? I don't see it. Hang on a second. Do you see it? Try again. Oh, it does not like that. So the link is not coming up in the chat, Mike. I don't know if I can do this.
I'm trying to see if there's a article to pull up.
There is, but it won't paste in the chat. Let me just try it like this. Well, that worked. Yeah, Ben and Jerry's claims the U.S. exists on stolen indigenous land. They did it on the 4th of July. It's got people in an uproar.
All right, I'm going to. This link's for TMZ. The 4th of July, this 4th of July, it's high time we recognize that the U.S. exists on stolen indigenous land and commit to returning it. Learn how to take action now. I feel like that is a whole lot of, not the right way to go about any of that. Like, if you want to have discussions about, the terrible things that we did do to indigenous people, and the start with the smallpox blankets, and how awful that was. But it's like you're talking, 3, 4 generations of people later, and how does one equate to the other? It's like it's good that we teach the history of how things happen, but to say let's turn things back over to people, how do we prove who people are? Like that's what I think is tough too. Is like saying like you know X person is here, owes this person this, Y owes that. And it's like there's so many people that have come through America that that weren't here 5 generations ago, that have immigrated to America throughout the years. Like it is literally the melting pot for a reason. And it has always been that way, and it continues to be that way. That America always grows through people coming and building and growing. You know, people come for college. Oftentimes they're able to get a job in an industry that they studied in school, and then wind up staying, whether it be through their education or through entertainment. A lot of actors that become American citizens.
Hey, we got Gail McCullough. Gail, happy 4th. Oh, man, Gail is awesome, right, Mikey?
Absolutely. We are going to get together shortly to be able to get some mass behavioral health line information into the ammo can hope boxes that we're creating for people. So that way we're able to share the supply they have available in the ammo cans so folks know when they're in crisis that the mass behavioral health line is available to them and how to reach them.
And also, to that end, I have put the Mass Behavioral Health Helpline PSA as a lower third banner in all my Oscar Mike radio shows. So if you're watching my show and you see it scrolling by there, you can, call right there from the show and get some help. It's just one way that Mike and I wanted to, keep up with, what that's trying to do. It's a good program, but great to see you, Gail. I hope your 4th was great and eventful, and we are happy you're here tonight. And I got Elsa from Western Mass checking in. Elsa, how you doing? So, just really good stuff, man. Really good stuff. I guess it's America's birthday, and I'm thinking about the future of America, and I'm like, if I had a wish list for my country, what would it be? What would it be? And I think we got to do something to really get people to understand what makes us Americans. I think we're losing touch with what it means to be an American. People really don't know anymore. I think we've gotten away from that. That'd be. I'm not saying we got to be like nationalists and you know rah rah America everything, but definitely understand what makes us different from other countries, why are freedoms so important, and you know why are they worth protecting. I think that's the main thing that I'd want to start with.
I'd start with too, like splitting up, these tiny social circles that people wind up in, and people need to step outside their comfort bubble and experience more of America. For me, like traveling to Virginia and living in Virginia for a while was great because it's a different experience, and like that's one of the things of the military that I loved was I went to Missouri for initial training, and then I was upstate New York to pre-deploy to go to Iraq the first time, and then I was down in Mississippi, and I went out to California for training, and to be able to go to all these different parts of the country and to be able to see what life is like. Not always just being stuck in the Boston area and just having that one world view and like just being like that's it. That's I don't understand like people that like that stay in one area and that's it. Like for me, I had to travel. I had to experience things outside of it.
Well, I mean, I've met people here, and I've met people in Louisiana who I have people I've met here who said that what, they lived pretty much their entire life on the Cape. They might
Mhm.
come up to Foxborough for a Pats game or a Bruins game, but pretty much the Cape is where they've spent their entire life. I have people in Louisiana who never left Greater Shreveport ever. And I'm like, there's a big world out there. There's lots to see and do. And this is a pretty amazing place. And don't you want to, meet other people? Nah, no, I don't need to. And I think you're right. I think that gets you kind of like constrained to this one and only one way of looking at things.
And even like I feel like too, like you know, the way things used to be was people would meet one another. You grew up in the town, you dated your high school sweetheart, you married, you had the kids. and you grew up your family in the same town. You were born, raised, and died in the same town, and now people are going out and expanding on where their families are from and where they grew. Like for me, like my dad was one of 13 kids, born in Foxborough, and now his family, like his brothers and sisters, are some are in New Hampshire, some are in California, some are in Florida. There's two in Colorado, so it's like they're everywhere. So it's like it's nice to see like they all didn't just stay in town. Like the only one left in Foxborough is my dad.
Wow. That's something else. That's just kind of hard to imagine. Like 13, 13. I
It was
mean,
14 total, but one was premature and only lived for like 6 weeks.
wow.
So,
But
but
still, you got to share everything, and I bet you ate all your food at the dinner table because there was nothing else coming. Mom made what mom made, and that was it.
like so I grew up in an apartment behind the house that my dad grew up in, and I don't understand how they fit 13 kids in the house. Like even like with the additions that were put on later, like they're just people like must have been like doing like the Navy like hotbed. Like one person gets up, the other person goes down. Like it just didn't seem like there was room for 13 children in
That's
the age range.
crazy.
Is like you definitely saw like that. Like my dad's one of the older ones, so he was one of the ones that like once he got to a certain age was taking care of the younger ones as they came into existence. And like my dad went into the trades, and like so anytime like anybody in his family like needed something, there was always calling John and see what he could do. He started with plumbing, and then he got his master's license in carpentry, and then he got his master's license in electricity, and then he got his HVAC. And so he wanted to be able to start and finish the projects by himself. He didn't want to have to wait on another, you know, tradesman to come in to do something in order for him to finish his work. So he went out and he just kept doing the work to get the licenses, so he could be, master plumber, master electrician, master HVAC, master carpenter, and had them all. And now he's still in retirement. He retired from the union, the pipefitters union, 6 years ago. Whenever the everything started exploding in the northern Mass, all like the water heaters were exploding. Do you remember
No
that?
shit. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Back in like 2015, 2016.
Yeah, when that happened, he retired from the pipefitters union and started going up there and doing like the work that was because that was being covered from an insurance company. And he's like, I was making stupid money. Like it's like you'd go in, just fix up, whatever lines were all effed up, and put a new water heater in properly and like set it up, and like they were just writing checks because they were just like, we need this fixed now. Like so, he was like, he retired from the pipefitters union and just started doing that independently up there.
Cool, cool. Um, I got Adam Simonic, fellow Charlie Battery mate, Mike checking in. He's from Illinois and he drives for the FSB Racing League, the 016 Oscar Mike radio car. Adam, thanks for checking in tonight. Hope you're doing all right, brother, and hope your fourth was good. Jeremy Daniels says, follow the money. Well, I'd like to follow some money and or have some money, have the money trail laid out, Jeremy. Sometimes it'd be really helpful. Um,
I'd like
Gail
some money
said,
to find me.
well, even better, Mike. Have some money, find me. Absolutely. Gail brings up a good point. We can't live in silos. We have to help each other. And I think it's one of the things, speaking of America and why it's such, a great place is, you know, when we might fight amongst each other, we might hate each other, but man, when the situation is all messed up and stuff's hitting the fan, a lot of times we'll close ranks and then look out. We can get all kinds of stuff done.
Team Rubicon is a huge example of that. I don't know
Yeah.
if how much you know about Team Rubicon,
Not much, not
but
much. Go ahead and tell me.
uh, they are a group of guys that are veterans that come together and do like stateside deployments say like a tornado hits Oklahoma and goes through a town and ravages it. They will put together a group of individuals that are trained to be chainsaw men or people that are there to direct traffic or to run an aid station, and they will deploy these veterans into an area to be able to pick up and be a community aid team that goes down to these affected area, stay in a hotel for however long the mission may take, and rebuild and repair the area that was affected by the natural disaster or whatever had happened to the area.
Nice.
And like I've done a mission with them when COVID first hit. We were delivering food to families in Chelsea because Chelsea was really affected by COVID hard when it first began. Uh, and so what we were doing is we were bringing two different types of boxes. One day it would be a supply of like non-perishable goods, and then the next day it would be a supply of your produces, your fruits and vegetables and things like that. And we would deliver these boxes, to people's homes that were on the address. And like each team that would go out, there was 5 teams each day that would go out, and we would have 20 to 30 homes each that we were delivering these boxes to and taking care of these families.
And what was it like when
And
you
that was
showed?
just one mission that Team Rubicon was doing in Massachusetts.
What was it like when you showed up with those boxes to help those families out, man? What was that like?
And it was great to see, and like, but it also was heartbreaking to know that there was such a need here, and like to know that without like just the fact like without school, like that some kids don't eat, like the fact that kids go out there and that school lunch is their only meal of the day, like that's really sucks, and that to me like kills me knowing that that's happening in this country. It's like the kids are going to bed hungry. Like to me, like that's something that should never happen in this country, but does way too often.
So you got a lot of satisfaction from seeing, other people come together to help, your fellow Americans, and then by in exchange, get to see, people appreciate what you all did.
And it definitely, people continued on working with the food pantries and working, to make sure that the mission, continued and, transitioned to what it needed to be, throughout that time. And still today, a lot of the folks that, that stepped up and volunteered through Team Rubicon do still work at some of these food pantries and making sure that the needs are still met, throughout Massachusetts, throughout greater Boston area, making sure folks still have the food that they need. And, because the state programs are really a pain and a hassle. Like seeing family members who have gone through SNAP benefits and the food stamp program. It's really like disheartening to see the hoops that they make people jump through just to be able to get assistance to be able to eat.
That's the one thing that I think a lot of people can't understand sometimes is the hoops. People don't believe me when I say, I was told, well, you'll just be able to go down to the VA and, in a couple of weeks get all hooked up. I'm like, no, you know, think months or a year. And that's if they think that, you're actually really hurt bad enough to warrant anything. And you can have a civilian doctor sign off on the fact that you are messed up. You can have a civilian psychologist do it, and it won't mean anything. It's not easy to navigate the government system sometimes, which is why I don't know. I know the VA is a good organization. I know I'd like to think our government's there for us, but I also think if we can help each other out without Uncle Sam, we should.
Absolutely, like, and that's one of the things that we try to do with Hellfish is is get people to understand their claims and get them to know that when you file something, if you go back in and you check on your benefits and see what's going on, to see what phase of the claim you're at, that there's a thing you click on that says I have nothing further to add, and that pushes your claim in to be processed. that can be open anywhere from 30 days to 6 months unless you click that button. And it's like that's not shared with people. And if you don't have somebody working on your claim for you, like you may not know that, and you just sit there for 6 months when you could have had everything already submitted after 2 3 weeks.
Man, I'm having one VSO tell me that just what you said. He's like, if I could get people to understand that when the VA sends them a letter or an email, or if they have the VA app on their phone and a text comes up, to look at it and respond. And if they don't understand, go to a VSO to get help, because he's like, they miss stuff. Like
Hmm.
I finally got this guy to look at they say the VA were sending in snail mails saying, hey, we need you to call us to verify something. He just threw him away thinking he was all set. It's like, don't throw him away. Answer the freaking letter.
Yep, and it's not like and they're not going to back pay that whole time because they're going to say that the claim wasn't fully submitted until that last X is made, and then that's when they'll say the claim start date is, and it's like it's unfortunate because that person could have been getting the care and the benefit financially, because sometimes it's not always about the financial, it's about being able to go and see a doctor for your pain and go and see somebody to get treated for your injuries and ailments, like especially when it comes to the mental health side. And that's why it's so important that people do know about like the PACT Act and about being able to go see a mental health provider for 30 days inpatient, or for 90 days outpatient outside of the VA if you need to as a veteran, by just going to the place and saying, hey, I'm a veteran and the VA is going to cover this now.
As you're talking, I'm thinking, I'm wanting Gail to come back and talk to us to understand how many veterans the Mass Helpline has assisted, because it's my understanding, Mike, that the PACT Act has flooded the VA system again. Like it's crazy right now to get anything through, because with the PACT Act opening up, everybody is applying, everybody's trying to get in, adjustments and things fine tuned. It'd be interesting to see, if the Mass Helpline in this state at least, helped out, facilitated, you know, got it. So, oh, Gail's still on the chat. She's saying, I don't know if we have that info. Okay, you don't know, but I was just curious, you know, uh, if there's a way to track, which demographic the Mass Helpline helped. Did they, we had 40,000 calls and we helped 4,000 veterans, for example. I don't know.
Jeremy, that's awful.
17,000 calls. Wow.
And so it's so upsetting to see people getting denied care and refused the the help that they need out there. And like, and then you see other people that that make up stories and get all this help. Like I watched a person that was over seas with us on my second tour, uh, just got a home makeover from Montel Williams and everything. And this was the person that lied about being shot at while we were overseas. And like, they claimed that that they saw the bullet whiz through the air like the ripples like in the Matrix, and it was like that doesn't happen in real life. Like, and like they poked a hole through the netting in there, the camo netting over the top of the turret, and claimed that oh, we were shot at. And and now this person's getting their home completely remade, courtesy of like some military makeover show. And like it just blows my mind.
Man, Stolen Valor just really grinds my gears. Keith Hayes from Sinister One Productions is checking in. Keith Hayes co-produces the Oscar Mike Radio Show for almost 7 years now, and it's good to see you tonight, Keith. Jeremy Daniels says popular narratives only are the only ones allowed. Well, I mean, this is kind of why we have, things like We Are Resilient and other shows, is to tell those stories that may not be popular, but still need to be told, man. Everybody has a, story of value and can share something. That's what we want to do. So we want to do. Holy moly, Mike! It's 7:51 already. I mean, where does the time go? Now, in the time we have left, you have a special guest that we're trying to get on. Tell us a little bit. Give us a peek of the guest for next week on war.
All right. So on Facebook, a lot of times, like you'll see things for like people that work with others as coaches, as like speakers, and like that'll work with people that are doing entrepreneurial work and like and helping you like get through the challenges and the way to set up things and to expand your your presence both in person events and online events. And like a lot of times you think like this is to me, like at first I thought it was like a completely like ridiculous field, and then like after talking with people and like learning about it more, like and like I went through um, the bunker labs program with a female colonel, and this is what she does too, and like helps people and coaches and gets people to where they need to be and perform at the the executive level and the top level. And I had gone online, and they had requested to do like a 15-minute interview for marketing research. And so I clicked it and said, yeah, I'd volunteer to do this. After the 15 minutes we did, we stopped the research and we spoke for another 45, and just you know sharing the different ways that the brain works and learning, small little tips just to be able to reach out and just helped me within within that hour. It really just made such a difference that I felt we really had to get out there and you know and get to hear the same message. So without giving away what was shared with me, I just got to say definitely tune in next week, because the way that she looks at you know things that are troubling you, and the way that you're able to turn something from being a negative point into a positive change and an aspiration. It just really like it got me back in gear and got me like ready to just start the fight again for Hellfish Haven.
Man, that is
So
awesome. I mean, just the kind of people that have impacted you, that we all learn from, and the kind of people we want to have on to talk with us. Man, that's really powerful. Can't wait to meet her. So she is going to be on with us next week on the well, I'll put my calendar here in a second. On the 12th, July 12th, which is a special day for a lot of people. That's really cool. Awesome. Awesome. So, again, I am with Michael Geary, Army National Guard veteran, founder and executive director of Hellfish Haven. Um, served his country in Iraq and Afghanistan. My name is Travis Parrington, and I'm a Marine Corps veteran and the host of Oscar Mike Radio. And together we are war. We are resilient. F the stigma. I think that's something that Mike has really pushed, is getting over the stigma of PTSD. We have Project Die Hard out of Southern Illinois, right on the Illinois Kentucky border. Brian Gibson is doing a thing with Fort Operating Base Rush out there, Mike. I'll see if he'll come on and talk to us. He's got a really cool thing going, and he gave
yeah, really,
breakfast to 10 veterans a day. Brian, that is
that's
awesome, brother.
outstanding.
Thank you for coming on and sharing that with us. It's just really cool. So if you have a cool story or something you want to share with us, or something that impacts people and veterans, reach out to us. I've got the link in the chat for Hellfish Haven, and Mike has a really cool resources site. I'm going to put it up in the chat where you can check out all the resources he's collected for veterans. It's been really amazing getting to meet some of them, and we're just having a good time, Mike. I mean, holy moly! I mean, just this hour just flew by, flew by.
Yeah. And we just we're just trying to keep sharing the message and and growing in that. And if anybody wants a bumper sticker to throw in there, have them. Just send a message to myself or Travis. we'll pop into the mail and get it to you. I've
Absolutely,
got the stamps
absolutely.
to send out, so don't worry about postage. I've got that covered. So don't live in
Well,
someplace crazy where it's gonna cost like $15 to send it to you. But like if you're in the U.S., I'll send to you guys. Just pop me an address and I'll get it out to you guys.
that'd be cool, man. That'd be cool. You gotta share the image of you with the decal when you get it, though. Do us that favor. Do us that favor. So it's all going good, man. It's all coming to an end real quick. We're going to be on next Wednesday, July 12th, and we're going to have our guest on. It's going to be amazing. So just want to thank you for being on with us tonight, and hope your fourth was safe. Glad you're all here, and it's just really cool to see, Mike, all the people from across the nation. We've got Illinois, we've got the West Coast, representing all kinds of people from everywhere and in the state too. It's just really cool to see. So,
I gotta
um,
show off this little shirt too, real quick. You got a little hellfish with the red,
dude,
white, and
the red,
blue,
white, blue stars, man. That's
and
that's American AF, baby.
then you got the back.
USA, USA, USA.
And yeah,
Love it.
we just try to keep things relevant to the time, and get things out there that people will enjoy to wear, and to share the focus of the org as well.
Awesome, awesome. Well, again, hey, he's Michael Geary, Army National Guard veteran, MP, and the founder and executive director of Hellfish Haven. I got the link to his resources in the chat. Again, I'm Travis Parrington, Marine Corps veteran and the host of Oscar Mike Radio. We're happy to have everybody on the chat tonight. We're happy to be here, and we'll be on next week. Take care, and God bless.
Good night, everybody.